All right, guys, it's the morning of a review. We're driving an electric car, so let's do the kind of standard thing to do, which is go charge it first. We're gonna head out from here. Fast charge is about 20 miles away. We've got just under 100 miles of charge, so we're plenty fine on that. But let's jump in, we'll charge it, and then we'll start the review. All right, we got 93 miles of range. It's about 20 miles to the charger, so no problem there. Let's get to it. And as has come tradition when driving and reviewing an EV, this morning, before we even start the review, we are charging the vehicle. We're here at the Electrify America charging point. This thing goes up to 350 kilowatts, so it should be a quick charge. We're at 70 miles of range. That's 36% battery left. It's 8:15. We're gonna plug it in, get some charge on it, and then head out. Then we'll start the review. All right, so we did stay for about 20 minutes and got up to 88%. This will only hit 90% anyways. And of course, at 88% charge, we're looking at about 181 miles of range. And I only have a couple of days left with the car after the review, so I don't need to even hit the 90 or 100%. So that'll give us plenty of charge for shooting the video today and the rest of my time with this vehicle. Plus, I can always charge it a little bit more if I need to. Those fast chargers are great. This one, even ranked at 350 kilowatts, didn't charge at that at all, but still 15-20 minutes to get to 80-90%. Really good. Now let me go get somewhere where I can get out and really start showing you this car. Let's get into the review. Yes, this week I've been driving the all-new Kia EV6 GT. This is a compact crossover all EV vehicle that competes with the likes of the Volkswagen ID.4, the Hyundai Ioniq5, the Nissan Ariya, the Toyota BZ4X, the Mazda MX-30, and even the Mustang Mach-E. So this is a new field, but already a very crowded field. And as far as it goes of driving the competition, I've driven quite a few of those, basically all of them except for the Mustang Mach-E. And last year during our annual Auto Roundup event, I did drive an EV6. That was the GT line. It was at an event, so I only got about 15 minutes of seat time, and I left that not very impressed with the vehicle. But we also had other EVs there, including the Ioniq5, which I really did like. So I was happy to spend a full week with this thing and really get into it and see what I thought. So that's what this video is. All right, and let's quickly talk about the trims here. You have the Wind in rear-wheel drive, then the Wind in all-wheel drive. You have the GT line in rear-wheel drive and the GT line in all-wheel drive. And then you have this, the GT, which is only in e-all-wheel drive. So don't confuse the GT line with the GT. The GT line is mainly just trims and stuff. The GT is where you're gonna get all the power. But before we talk about that power, let's quickly talk about the exterior design here. All right, and first off with the exterior, the paint color is called Runway Red, which I really do like the look of this vehicle in this color. The last one I drove was the gray. It's called Steel Matte Gray, and I didn't quite like the car in that color. My initial reaction on the design was that they're trying to do a bit too much. There's a lot going on in the front, in the rear, and even along the sides. Seeing it in this color with the GT trim, all that makes a little bit more sense. I think it does look sporty, it looks really cool. And being a newer EV vehicle, you've got to stand out somehow. And this isn't their entry-level EV, so this is kind of a more premium vehicle. And I'll give it to them, I like the looks of this a lot more than I did initially. The GT exterior design has unique front and rear fascias, has neon accents, which you can't miss. We have the 21-inch wheels with high-performance tires and the neon GT high-performance brakes with quad-piston front calipers. So not just a lot of go in this thing, a lot of extra stopping power. The front grille is gloss black here. We have the lower body cladding in the body color, as well as the wheel arch molding in the body color. The side mirrors are gloss black. They are heated and power folding mirrors, and they do power fold on lock of the vehicle. And of course you have those side handles that are automatically pulled in flush with the exterior to reduce any drag. As you approach the vehicle, they will automatically pop out, or obviously if you unlock it, they will pop out for you. Headlights and tail lights, all LED, very unique to this design. And again, overall, I quite like the looks of this GT. And really quickly talking about the dimensions of the vehicle, it's 184.8 inches length. The overall wheelbase is 114.2 inches. The width is 74.4 inches. Your height is 60.8 inches, and you have a 6.1 inch ground clearance. And with that, let's check out the cargo area. It does have an automatic popping rear hatch. The button is way down here towards the middle. And as you can see here, the cargo volume is really nice. With the rear seats up, you're looking at 24.4 cubic feet of cargo volume. With those folded down, you're looking at 50.2 cubic feet. So it is a compact crossover. You do have a nice hatch and nice size back here. Nothing really fancy going on with power or anything. It is a 60-40 split, so you can fold those seats down. But with that, let's move on to the power delivery. All right, so let's get into some of the juicy content here. Let's talk about the motors, the battery, the range. Starting off with the rear-wheel drive platform. So the rear-wheel drive cars get a 77.4 kilowatt hour battery, up to 310 miles of range. That pushes 225 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. I think a really great option if you're going for maximum range, and that's one trim that I just haven't been able to drive so far. This one obviously is the all-wheel drive, and the GT line that I drove at the event was also an all-wheel drive. The all-wheel drive cars that aren't the GT have a 77.4 kilowatt hour battery, same battery, up to 282 mile range, which is really good. 320 horsepower, 446 pound-feet of torque. That's quite a bit as it goes, but let's move into the GT, where you get the same 77.4 kilowatt hour battery. This one at 100% charge will only get you 206 miles of range. So you are suffering quite a bit, almost 100 miles of range from going from the rear-wheel drive vehicle. But here you get 576 horsepower, 545 pound-feet of torque, and of course it is the dual motor e-all-wheel drive. All of them are engineered for peak charging, a world first 800 volt multi-charging architecture, enables ultra-fast DC charging to reach from 10 to 80% charge in just 18 minutes. And of course, you already saw our little test at the beginning of this video where we went from almost 40 to 80 in about 20 minutes, but that wasn't even charging at the fastest available. So as the infrastructure gets better and better, this thing's already going to be equipped to make use of all that power, which is really great future proofing and really makes EVs more and more useful as the infrastructure grows. With that, let's jump inside and start taking a look at the interior. Then we'll take it for a drive and show you what that power can do. So quickly checking out the rear seats here, you can see I'm a bigger guy, 6'1", plenty of room back here. You've got a completely flat floor all the way across, which is really great. Plenty of foot room, plenty of knee room, even decent amount of headroom. You've got pull down armrests with cup holders. You've got USB-C charging ports down here. You've got your own vents. Really not a bad place to be at all for a passenger. So if you're buying this for a family, you've got some kids, this is definitely doable. I had my kids 3 wide back here. They really didn't complain. And the materials back here are just as nice as the rest of the vehicle. Of course, you get that neon stitching with this suede-like material. Super good, but let's jump out and check out the driver's seat, where everybody, I'm sure, is the most interested. First off, sliding into this vehicle, it's a little bit lower, although not really low, but you do have these really aggressive bucket seats, and they are pretty tight, so getting in and out is a bit more tricky than it would be in a normal vehicle. But even being a bigger guy, I do fit in them comfortably. They're not too tight. They don't poke into my sides like some bucket seats do. Plus, they look super good. You've got your GT badge here. You've got that neon stitching, neon piping. Really cool. But let me show you around the rest of the interior. All right, and this dash is really cool. It has a really cool pattern on it. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that in the video itself. You've got your GT badge over here. The little cutout for your vents and stuff looks really cool. Obviously, we have the black suede with neon accents. Let's go ahead and kick it on and check out everything here. It is a very driver-focused cabin. These are dual 12.3-inch panoramic displays. Obviously, your driver-focused display and your touchscreen infotainment screen. This can have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. We have a really great head-up display with augmented reality navigation directions, which is pretty cool. You've got another set of buttons on a screen down here, which function really well for being touchscreen buttons and serve a really great purpose of this being a screen. You can switch from all your media controls to your AC and heat controls super easily. Even these knobs change, which I think is really great, and it will automatically switch back. Down from there, you have a huge gap here with just a ton of space. Women can put their purse, whatever you want down there. Here we have our heated seat buttons as well as a heated steering wheel button. This nice brushed aluminum look. Your power button, which every time I've got in and out of the car, I always forget it's here and reach for over here. Of course, you'll get used to that if you own this car. And your gear shifter, you can see your reverse neutral drive. All you do is pull it back. We do have a 360 camera with the backup camera. Back over and you're in drive. Push in for park. You can see we've got a button here to kick your cameras on. And it does have a feature to swivel around the car. And then we've got our auto hold button, parking sensor button. And then right back here is a little tray for your wireless charger. And your phone kind of slips underneath this and will start charging. Of course, your cup holders, and then a nice size cubby here. And this is even pretty nicely designed. It's a little bit harder, but it's still kind of a soft material. Moving on to the steering wheel itself, you can see you've got pretty much of a flat bottom, nice chunky wheel, nice neon stitching. You've got your GT button down here. That will put you in GT mode, which is exclusive to the GT. You also have other drive modes, which are controlled by the button on this side of the steering wheel. And those are Eco, Normal, and Sport. In that Sport mode isn't the same thing as your GT mode. Most of the time, I've kept it in Eco mode. It works out really well. I'll talk more about that as we drive. but that GT mode is insane. And as you see here, we do have a nice driver information display. You can thumb through different things as you switch modes. It will switch looks. And we do have a sunroof, but that's not super impressive. Let's go ahead and get this thing out on the road and start driving it and talk to you about what we think about that. This is the most powerful Kia production vehicle ever with its 576 horsepower all-electric motor. 0 to 60 should be 3.4 seconds, top speed of 161 miles per hour. The battery pack is optimized for performance. You get a 160 kilowatt front motor and a 270 kilowatt rear motor. We do have a drift mode in here. Obviously, we've got those bigger brakes, 15-inch in the front, 14.2-inch in the rear, quad-piston front calipers, and we even have an electronic limited slip diff. All things that make this a really great sports vehicle. All right, but before we get into much more of the sporty driving, let's just talk about the day-to-day. In eco mode, it is nice and smooth, quiet. You do have a pretty aggressive regeneration system, so as soon as you let off the gas, it will start braking, slowing you down and regenerating some power. As far as I've seen, there's not really a specific button for one pedal drive, but in eco mode, the regeneration is a lot stronger than it is in normal mode. And of course, in sports and GT mode, you really don't get much at all. As a matter of fact, as soon as you push the button, you can just feel the car jump and get ready. We do have a lot of safety features in here, including blind spot monitoring, radar guided cruise control, lane keeping assist, which the Kia's lane keeping assist and all these safety features are really great. Probably in the top class of all vehicles on the road. I've really always been a fan of head-up displays. This one is an incredible head-up display. It's really big, presents a lot on the screen. You get a lot of stuff, a lot of color, and it's all very sharp no matter if it's day or night. There's even been times where I was stopped at a red light and the 0 miles per hour was projected on the car in front of me, and I thought it was a reflection of a headlight or something, or even a sticker on that car. It was so sharp. Living in the suburbs with this thing is great. You can tote around town just fine. Grocery getting is done really well in here because it's so big in the rear. Hauling around the kids in here was great. Bringing it into the city was good. It's a nice size, so you don't really have to worry about being very wide or too big for the city. Even though this is technically categorized as a crossover, it really feels more hatchbacky. And of course, with the speed, maneuverability, very good. Steering is great. Comfort is really good here. Again, these seats are aggressively bolstered, but just after a few minutes in here, you really can get sunk in and comfortable. And when you're doing harsh turns, they definitely help keep you held in. All in all, the biggest praise that I can give it is that you don't even think about it being an electric car until you put your foot on the gas or until it's time to really charge it. It just drives like a really smooth, nice vehicle. Very solidly built. A lot of EVs are cheaper built. One for weight savings, two for cost savings. This thing, I don't feel at all that they skimped out anywhere. The exterior is really well done. The interior is really well done. And of course, this is a more expensive vehicle. We'll get into the price here in just a bit. But I do think that they did take the time to really nail all the fit and finish here. Everything around the vehicle is easy to read, easy to touch, easy to control. There's just so much that I could touch on and could really dive into, but I think I'd rather talk about the speed of this thing. This is the GT, so let's talk about the performance and see what we can do with the 0 to 60. So sport mode already, it's pretty quick. Still got some regen going on as you let off the gas. But to get up and go, it's definitely there. So that's some sport driving. Let's switch back over to GT mode. Let's see what kind of fun we can get into here. Those tires do a great job at just keeping the traction. Oh my gosh. I mean, just the acceleration on this thing. It sounds pretty good too. It's got that very Star Wars-y warp speed sound. But apart from other high-performance EVs, this is easily one of the fastest vehicles I've ever driven. All right, we're on a pretty good straight here. Let's get down to 0 and do a proper 0 to 60. Ready, set, go. Oh my gosh, that's 60. Yeah, let's talk to editing Adam and see what numbers we got there. Even more impressive than 0 to 60 is kind of like the 30 to 70 range or 50 to 70. It's just intense. My goodness. All right, with that fun out of the way, let's pull back over. Let's talk about the price a bit, and then we'll wrap it up with some of my final thoughts. Let's get to that. All right, guys, with that, let's quickly talk about the price. Like I said in this video already, we're not dealing with the entry-level EV from Kia. This is more of a premium vehicle to begin with. Your base price for the Wind, which again is the lowest trim rear-wheel drive, is $48,700. So almost 50 grand at entry. The base for the GT is $61,600, which this one basically doesn't have any options, just destination, and is just over $62,000 MSRP. So that sounds like a lot of money, but you are getting a lot of vehicle. It is probably the most power for money that you'll find. But with that, let's jump out and start wrapping this thing up. I'll talk about my final thoughts here. So let's get into it. All right, so after a full week of driving the EV6 GT, let me give you some of my final thoughts. Starting off with what I think one of the biggest features of any EV is, which is the range that it can do. It is a bit sad that you lose basically 100 miles of range for getting the GT vehicle. If you're looking for good looks, but with the best range, I definitely suggest the rear-wheel drive vehicle. Don't get me wrong though, the GT, if you're going for speed, is mind-blowing, and speed for price is really good, even though it does have a hefty price tag, which we already talked about. Personally, I wouldn't be running to the showrooms to get one. Again, although I do like the design a lot more than I did initially, it is mind-blowing speed for the price, and it's decent range depending on what you're using it for. If you're just going around town and you've got fast chargers close or something in your home that can charge it overnight, no issues there. But if I'm looking for an EV, it's not quite what I would be looking for, and I definitely think there are things on the market that look a bit better and will age a little bit better. That being said, if you like the looks and you're into the EV market, it's a solid built vehicle. It is really good, definitely worth checking out. With that, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the EV6 and the EV6 GT. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. We do a different review every week. We've got a lot of EVs on here and a lot more coming up. Also go check out txgarage.com, where we've got a lot of written reviews as well as event news coverage from a lot of great authors over there. But with that, guys, thanks for watching.